SubwaySim Hamburg is the latest metro simulator to hit the Steam store page. But is this new subway, i.e. train simulator, worth it? This is a full review of SubwaySim Hamburg. So firstly, a bit about the game. The game is going to cost €36, although if you buy it in the first week of its release, from the 16th of May to the 23rd of May, you can get it for 15% off. And the game features the line U3 in Hamburg that runs between Barmbek and Vansbeck Gartenstadt. This is a circular line, and this is a circular line, and essentially this route is 45 minutes long. Along it you can see attractions within Hamburg and the central area. This line is mostly overground with some underground sections, and it includes the highly detailed DT5 trains which were made between 2010 to 2022. And the game is built on the Unreal Engine 5, which seems to be the trend with a lot of simulators that Aerosoft is affiliated with. So in this video, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the game and what are my thoughts on it and whether it is worth the money. So in terms of graphics and details, it is pretty much what one would expect from the Unreal Engine 5. It kind of does the job in many respects, and in terms of graphics, it is decent. Now that being said, I think there is still some. Now bear in mind, this is being filmed on the early access version, so this is being filmed 2 days before the game is actually released. Although I'm pretty sure there'll be furthermore updates for this as the game evolves. But basically this game, in terms of graphics, I think, as is the case with, let's say, Tramsim and the bus, when they were first released, the graphics still needed some optimization. In terms of settings, I'm using the default settings I recommend, but sometimes you can kind of see the trees kind of blur together. But hopefully in time that will be fixed. But graphics are pretty much what one would expect from the Unreal Engine 5, and in terms of level of detail in the cab, most stuff is clickable. Currently there are no cold starts, so in terms of completeness, I wouldn't necessarily say the game is fully complete, because essentially you just drive the train, you just pull it up and down. As you can see here, the stuff that started the train is not clickable. I presume in time cold starts will be added in, a bit like with Tramsim, where this stuff was added into the future. I guess perhaps that is why if you buy the game in advance, it's 15% off, kind of recognizing that it's not necessarily a final product, and there's still a few more stuff that needs ironing out. In terms of sounds, the sounds generally sound decent enough. I haven't actually been on these trains to know necessarily, but I think it's pretty good. You have the wheel clack as well, so that's good. There are announcements that play. They kind of ticks all the major boxes, in terms of detail, quality, all that. I think the cold starts would be a nice thing to have as well. But in terms of kind of just like the basic core product, mostly of it is really there. There is no depot at the moment, which is a shame. It'd be nice to have some depot included, just so there can be some depot runs. But I guess for now that is not the case. As you can see there, the physics as well, whenever you're going over like crossover tracks, you can kind of feel the jolt there, which again is a nice addition to the realism. There isn't anything to say necessarily if you've stopped at the right place. There isn't any tutorials yet, but I presume tutorials will come with the final release of the game, so no one will discuss that too much. But currently there's nothing to tell you exactly where you're meant to stop. I presume you just stop at the end of the platform. And then, you have the two versions of this train. You have the single couple, which is 4 carriages, or the double couple, or 3 carriages, or double couple, which is 6 carriages. So in terms of, I guess this is kind of everything that is there. In terms of minimum requirements, the minimum requirements are kind of on the high end of things. You need an i5 4th generation CPU, although this kind of generally what is the case for the Unreal Engine 5. Or you need the AMD equivalent, which is like Ryzen 5. And then in terms of the don't hit this. In terms of the graphics, so yeah, in terms of the not the graphics, sorry, in terms of the requirements, in terms of GPU, that's why it's most heavy. It requires a 4 GB of VRAM for the GPU. Bearing in mind this game is quite taxing on the GPU, so you definitely want to have a high, a very high, not a very high quality GPU. We want to have one that's fairly beefy and is able to it's kind of 4 GB of VRAM, because I would say if you're below that, the game will definitely struggle for sure. It is quite demanding on GPU. It's a bit more demanding than likes of Tramsim potentially. Okay, so this is just kind of like a little route here we did quickly, but Yeah, I think in terms of the price tag, I think if you're buying it in the first week, it's probably kind of what you expect. 30 quid is not too bad. It's a decent enough price. I wouldn't say it's like the most amazing price out there, but it's pretty decent. I think in terms of 36 euro, this is kind of more for what the current product is. I think 36 euro might be a bit on the high end of things. I don't think it's necessarily a complete enough product for 36 euro. Now that being said, I won't be able to record this on the 16th of May because I'll be away. Hence why I'm recording this with the early access version. So we'll have to see what new features will be in that. But I presume in the in the release version, but I presume it's just gonna be like a tutorial. So I think stuff like cold start will still be missing. I think a few other things will need to be added later down the line. So I think yes, and also there's no depot. So I think currently realistic in terms of replayability, there's really only one line. In terms of weather, there's only clouds and sun. I presume rain and other stuff will be added within time. But again, as with Tram Sim, this stuff kind of took a while to be released. So I guess this is kind of like with other simulators out there, where if you're happy to kind of wait along and enjoy the product as it progresses, then perhaps it might be worth it. And that's why I think they have this 50% off in the first week, because it recognizes the fact that probably a lot of the more core players will buy it in the first week, will then kind of enjoy this product throughout its lifespan. So and then it's more worthwhile. But at 36 euro, as of currently, perhaps it might be worth holding off until there's a bit more features added in. Although if you think it's worth your while, then maybe do get it. But I think definitely better get it when it's in the first week, when it's a little bit off. I mean, the game itself is pretty decent. I just think in terms of replayability, it's just the one line, and there isn't really any depot runs. There isn't too much weather variety. So you kind of, there's only so much you can do with this. I'm not sure there's going to be modding tools with this. I don't think there's anything like that. But that being said, I think the aim of this game is to give you really really, I guess, immersive experience of the Hamburg Hochbahn. I think overall it does that. I think there are a few other things that are still missing, like for instance AI traffic. There's many humans walking around on the street level, so sometimes the city kind of does feel a bit, things do feel kind of a bit dead. It doesn't really feel to life. So I think definitely there needs to be a bit more done to the game in terms of adding in like AI humans or people walking about, or AI traffic, or kind of just to make it feel like a bit more lively. And things also in terms of the windows, like in terms of the graphics, like the graphics are generally quite good, but I think also with the buildings you see here, because they're kind of like pictures on windows, they don't necessarily look as realistic with the lights there, the illusions, you can see corridors there, so which is okay, but I think definitely a bit more work could be put in there. That's not to detract from the game. I think the game is overall is quite good, but I think definitely there are a few limitations that perhaps in time will be rectified, but I guess are just worth pointing out because are worth considering when you're deciding whether this is a game that is worth the money or not. I mean, I have to obviously highlight that I got this for free. I was sent the keys, so I'm trying to remain objective here. I think definitely 30 euro probably is pretty reasonable. I think 36 euro you have to really more consider, is this a game you're going to get replayability out of? Otherwise I say maybe potentially hold off, but if this game for sure you're going to get replayability out, then perhaps 36 euro is quite is worth your while. It's just like one of those simulators that you have to really like driving through Hamburg, like driving the same route over and over again. If you like a bit of variety, that kind of thing, this maybe is not it. But then again, I think perhaps this game is really made for people who want to kind of experience like driving the overground line, experiencing like the immersion of Hamburg. So I think there's just, you kind of have to know what you want and know what you're getting with the product. Hopefully we'll see some of those changes. I think this is just in general also with Trains to World 3 is kind of an issue, like kind of like the AI cars and the stuff. The city around them doesn't feel as vibrant. There's not that many humans around, so I think that's something that would be nice to see. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent game. There aren't any major bugs. It performs generally decent. I think there is a few more stuff that can be done with the optimization, which I'm sure is going to happen over time. I think this is kind of very much like with the strategy with the bus and the tram sim. Like it's kind of just to give you guys the ability to try out the game and kind of play it out as it evolves. But overall, like it's fairly like. It is fairly ironclad in the sense that generally there aren't really any major bugs. I think there's a few bugs of like people showing up on the route, but again, like I'm sure that might be fixed by the time this is released. So overall, like I think there isn't many major issues. Pretty much does what it says in the tin. So yeah, hopefully we'll see a bit more of this game. So overall, I guess the verdict is really just kind of depends what you want from this game. I think it is. I think it's it's definitely. It does what it's meant to do quite well in terms of giving the immersive experience of the underground, less having the coast starts and the depots which need to be added. But apart from that, it kind of does pretty much what you'd expect. So it's pretty solid. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, hopefully you found this video helpful. Let me know what you think of SubwaySim Hamburg. That is it for now, and yes, bye for now.